Alright guys, now moving on to the next big premiere for Fox, which is the opening for the second season of Sleepy Hollow. And yes, I will be doing episode reviews on Sleepy Hollow. I will be doing episode reviews on all of Season 2 for Sleepy Hollow. So let's dive right into this. And I gotta say, unlike the first episode for Gotham, where I was like, it's good, but hopefully, I'll be really maybe it'll hook me in later. This had me hooked in right from the get-go. Maybe because the first season made me go, oh my god. So, we start off with, of all things, apparently we find this opening of Ichabod and Abby together. They're celebrating Ichabod's birthday at the little log cabin that was once Corbin's, and then suddenly, they get a. Apparently, they've been doing this for a year. They say that they've been doing this a year, and I was like, wait, what the hell is going on the whole time? And for a second, I thought they were this is all a trick by. For one quick second, I thought it was all a trick by. It was just a trick to have everyone believe that they're that he's still in purgatory, and I'll get to that in a second. But there was a moment that I was like, when they continue on with the story, I was thinking to myself, maybe they'll show what happened to them in the flashbacks. So what we go on to is Abby and Ichabod getting a call, and they discover, the Horseman of Death is back after apparently a year of going missing, and this episode we discover focuses on Ben Franklin, who Ichabod has no love for. He was apparently Ichabod's apprentice, and was there the night he quote-unquote discovered electricity, when in truth he was just trying to find a way to destroy a key, which we find out is capable of opening the gates of purgatory. And of course, the Horseman's boss, Moloch, really wants that. So they manage to stop they encounter the Headless Horseman, stop him, and then go back to their base of operations, where they can't find anything and end up going to the only source that could find it for them, Ichabod's son, Harry, who is pretty much his son, like I said, and also the Horseman of War. And at the whole time, I'm thinking to myself, man, this maybe they'll do the whole it's funny. The whole time while I was watching this episode, I was thinking to myself, well, it can't be purgatory. Maybe they'll have flashbacks, because they say the Horseman killed both Ichabod's wife and Abby's sister. And throughout this, and also they have them. It has apparently Harry is their prisoner. And maybe I was thinking to myself, maybe it's not purgatory. Maybe it's they'll do Arrow with flashbacks. And it turns out it was all an illusion. So Moloch could discover the last whereabouts of the key to purgatory, and it was all one big ruse created by, like I said, by Moloch. And Abby is still in purgatory, and Ichabod is still in the box. Now, what I like about this episode are the characters themselves, especially Tom Mison, who is the actor playing Ichabod. The whole time, can I just say real quick, and I've said this before, but I don't think I've said this before on the channel. The whole time I'm watching this guy act as Ichabod Crane, the whole time watching Tom Mison act in these episodes, there are points, especially in this episode, where I was like, at any moment now, he's going to whip out a sonic screwdriver. Because just how Tom Mison acts and carries himself, and kind of has that stoic personality, but then can get to a really fun kind of way, and how he's kind of detached with the rest of humanity, in a sense, it's almost like, yeah, I could, honest to God, see Tom Mison playing the Doctor. I could honestly see Tom Mison playing the Doctor. And I would really like that. We'll probably never get it, but I think he would be really awesome as the 13th Doctor. But right now, I'm pretty content with Capaldi. And so yeah, if Capaldi ever leaves and Fox decides to go stupid and say, oh, we're gonna cancel Sleepy Hollow because we're stupid like that, then Tom Mison, please try to get a job with the BBC and become the 13th Doctor when Capaldi decides to finally leave. I'm just saying. Anyway. So the episode continues, and Crane manages to find his way finally out of the coffin his son had trapped him in, with a little bit of gunpowder. And also there's a hilarious scene where he's recording a message for Abby in case he does not make it, and it says his phone says, memory full, and he's like, and none of that recorded. Damn technology. We then cut away and discover what happened to Abby's sister Jenny, who was more or less thrown like a rag doll in her car after death. The Headless Horseman blew her tires out and left her to die, and almost left her to die. However, we discover that Harry captured her and is now kind of torturing her with the other Hessians, who are pretty much in this continuity a death cult, and they're pretty much torturing her to get the book, to find this book that contains the key, that apparently has the whereabouts of the key that will open the gates of purgatory in Franklin's lab, in Ben Franklin's possession. Or was in his possession, excuse me. While this is going on, let's cut away to another moment where the Headless Horseman has brought Ichabod's wife, Katrina, to his quote-unquote lair and is trying to get her to love her. Ugh. And also, we then go to Abby, who's in purgatory and is helped by her friend whose name I've suddenly forgotten. I know the actor's name. I remember the actor's name, but I completely forgot the character's name. I can't believe that. He was the one that betrayed everyone and was secretly working for Moloch, and then he got killed, but now he's in purgatory and decides to help. He wants to help Abby and shows her a way of how Katrina was first contacting Ichabod and her through this little mirror that can more or less punch a hole into through purgatory and onto Earth. So Abby uses that to contact Ichabod, who tells more or less that Moloch is trying to raise an army of the damned, and he is going to use it to go out there and wipe out humanity with his army of his damned army. So, obviously, the race is on with Jenny and Ichabod to rescue Abby, who pretty much says, look, we've been manipulated before, we've been tricked, we've been screwed over, there's a good chance that, what's to say Moloch won't screw us over again? But, of course, due to the whole prophecy of being the two witnesses, Ichabod refuses to leave her to die, to her own devices in purgatory. He decides to use the key and go in there himself. Through that, we pretty much discover that but first he had to find the key, which is kind of hilarious because I love the whole time. I love the whole story of like how at least little flashbacks he's had as Franklin's apprentice, and how he just says bloated self-absorbed gas bag. Because every other version of like the Founding Fathers you've seen in representations, you've always seen Ben Franklin carry himself in carry himself as this very wise and generous kind of person. When in reality, history says otherwise. But on the other, and I like how we have this grand image of one of the Founding Fathers, and Ichabod is just completely not having this. Like when Jenny tells him he's on the $100 bill, Ichabod says, "Of course, he had to be everywhere." So I think that's just funny. There's also another scene where Ichabod rescues Jenny by crashing an ambulance an old ambulance he finds, crashing it through a wall, and I love his expression where he's just like, "What? It's the best I could do." But anyway, yes, Jenny and Ichabod find the key, and Ichabod goes into purgatory and goes out into purgatory to find Abby. While there, we find that Abby is found by what we think is Ichabod, which turns out to be a demon, and it nearly becomes there's a scene in here that it nearly becomes, I almost said, really, we're going to do this, where the demon Ichabod is trying to get away the key and manipulate Abby, and Ichabod's there and they're fighting over the key. For one quick second, I thought we were going to get the age-old scene of Abby being forced to decide to choose which one is the real Ichabod. We've seen that before in multiple copy stories. We've seen that multiple times. I was just thinking, oh, we're gonna do this in here too. Damn it! It's just a tired cliche for me. But no, we don't get that. And Abby and quote unquote Ichabod run off, but only to discover that it's still the demon Ichabod who has the key. She manages to get the key away from it, and how she discovered it was that the demon called her lieutenant and not lieutenant. Very clever. So yeah, long story short, Ichabod and Abby get out of purgatory, and the key dissolves and withers and more or less destroys itself, locking Moloch in there, causing a major setback. However, Jenny, Abby, and Ichabod know that, well, he's not done. He's just going to come back. He's just going to bide his time and think of something else. So that's kind of the thing, is that this is just, they're gearing up for war now. They're gearing up for, whatever Moloch is going to throw at them next. But yeah. But then we get further on down into the episode, and in here we cut back to Katrina, who is given a little medallion that once Abraham, who is in here, Abraham von Braun, he's the headless horseman in this continuity, gives her a little magical amulet that he once gave her before, and it allows her to see his head. And yeah. We also get to see what the horseman does on his off time, and I find it kind of hilarious. But maybe that's just me in my weird humor. But yeah, she gets a illusion of his head, and yeah. We also then get to Harry, once again, Ichabod's son, and the Horseman of War. And in here, we discover that, yeah, he's kind of kissing up to Moloch, saying, "Oh, sorry I failed you, I'll get him next time." And Moloch says, "Cut that shit out. You've got something to do." And gives him this psychically controlled demon armor, which looks incredibly badass and has a fire sword. And yeah, that looked really awesome. So all in all, really happy with this episode. Really, it was a great opener. It got everything established real quick. Threw me for a few loops, and I'm usually the one that it threw me for a loop because I was thinking to myself, well, maybe they won't do the whole. Maybe they won't do the whole. Oh, they're still in purgatory thing. But nope, they threw me for a loop. Good on them. So yeah, really excited to see what comes up next. And like I said, I will be doing episode reviews of this series. So you guys tell me what you think of all this, and I will see you guys later.